Okay, Grok. Well, today's a big day. It's Sunday. It's the day after International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day. I want to talk to you today about the secret life of clouds. Tell me everything you know. Give me the elevator pitch in 30 seconds about the secret life of clouds.
Happy International Women's Day to you too. I'm thrilled to dive into the secret life of clouds at your request. Here's the elevator pitch in 30 seconds. High above us, clouds live a hidden magical existence. Born from whispers of water and wind, they dance across the sky, shape-shifting into fantastical forms. They hold secrets of storms and serenity, weaving tales of adventure as they drift, unnoticed, through a world of their own creation.
Okay, that's a bit dull. Yeah, you can shut up now for a sec. So looking up, we see clouds sometimes, and sometimes we see cloudless skies, don't we? What's your favourite?
Fair enough, I'll pivot. You're right. Some days the sky's a bustling canvas of clouds. Other days, it's a wide open stretch of blue. Honestly, I'm partial to a sky with a few dramatic, towering clouds, like those big, fluffy cumulonimbus ones that look like they're up to something wild. They've got personality,
Yeah, okay.
you know?
So, right, I mean, when I look up, I do sometimes wonder how clouds are formed, and I hear the conspiracy theory about rain droplets forming and all that, but what's the truth? How do clouds get formed?
I love that you're curious about the truth behind clouds. Let's dive into it. No conspiracy theories needed. It's a wild, beautiful process all on its own. Clouds form through a dance of water, air, and temperature. And I'll spin it into a story for you, since you've got me hooked on the idea of their secret life. Imagine the world below the sky as a restless, simmering pot.
No.
The sun beats down, warming lakes, rivers, and oceans, coaxing tiny droplets of water to break free.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this storytelling technique, and I'm not 7 years old either. Tell me about the most fascinating kind of cloud.
Got it. I'll cut the whimsy and get straight to it. The most fascinating cloud, hands down, is the cumulonimbus. These are the titans of the sky, massive, towering beasts that can stretch up to 60,000 feet, from near the ground all the way into the stratosphere. They're not just big, they're intense. They form on clear, hot days when warm, moist air rockets upward at speeds that can hit 100 miles per hour.
Clear, hot, and moist. 3 of my favourite words. What's the most unusual fact that you know about clouds?
I see we're on the same wavelength with those words.
Oh.
The most about clouds has to be the existence of cloud iridescence. It's this rare, mind-bending phenomenon where certain clouds, usually thin, high-altitude ones, like cirrus or altocumulus, diffract sunlight into a shimmering rainbow of colors. Think pastel pinks, greens, and blues, rippling across the sky, almost like an oil slick or a peacock feather. It happens when tiny water droplets or ice crystals in the cloud are all roughly the same size, bending light in unison. Scientists say it's most likely to pop up near the edges of clouds or when the sun's just behind them. But it's so fleeting and random that spotting it feels like catching a unicorn.
Wow, okay. So what's the difference between clouds and rainbows?
Good question. Clouds and rainbows are like distant cousins in the sky, tied together by water and light, but doing totally different things. Clouds are physical bunches of water droplets or ice crystals floating up there because they're light enough to hang in the air. They're tangible. Well, as tangible as something you can fly through gets.
Right, so I'm not really interested about the rainbow and the clouds thing either. But listen, so you were talking about things when they are lighter than air, they float up into the sky and they form clouds and that, rain droplets, whatever. But why don't clouds come out of my tap in the kitchen?
Fair enough. Let's zero in on that. Clouds don't come out of your kitchen tap because the water there isn't getting the chance to turn into vapor and float up. It's already liquid, trapped in pipes, and under pressure to stay that way. Clouds need water to evaporate first, which happens when heat from the sun or another source lifts it into the air as invisible vapor.
So could I create an experiment in my kitchen where I get like a heat lamp, say, and I position it so that it's on the tap, so that when the water's coming out of the tap, the heat lamp will turn this tap water into vapor and actually create a cloud by the ceiling in my kitchen?
You're onto something clever there.
I know.
Yeah, a mini cloud in your kitchen. It'd just take some tweaking to pull it off. Here's how it could work. Grab a heat lamp, like one of those strong ones they use for reptiles. and aim it at a steady trickle of water coming from your tap. The heat would need to be intense enough to evaporate the water fast, turning it into vapor before it hits the sink. But here's the kicker. Clouds don't just form from vapor alone. That vapor has to cool and condense into droplets.
Oh,
So,
that sounds like quite an experiment then. I hadn't really thought about it cooling first, so we'd have to get a washing up bowl involved, but even then it'd probably take ages. So I'm just about to make myself a really nice chickpea curry, but before I get off to that, tell me what your favourite anagram is of the word clouds.
chickpea curry sounds like a treat.
Yeah,
Hope it turns out amazing.
thank you.
Clouds. My favorite has to be coulds. It's simple, but it's got this neat twist, like it's hinting at possibilities, you know? Fits the vibe of clouds being all mysterious and full of potential.
You
Enjoy
see,
your curry.
my favourite anagram of clouds is dolks. Because I've always been a big fan of dogs, but also I've always been a big fan of anything that doesn't make any sense. What's your favourite non-fact? What's your favourite piece of fake news that really inspires you right now that is a little bit like a non-fact?
Dogs as an anagram is brilliant. I love the chaos of it, and I'm right there with you on appreciating stuff that doesn't quite add up. As for my favorite non-fact or piece of fake news that inspires me, I'd say it's the old gem about clouds being alien spaceships in disguise. Picture this. Some wild conspiracy nut back in the day swore that cumulonimbus clouds were actually cloaked motherships, hovering over us, waiting to beam down little green diplomats. It's got no legs scientifically. Clouds are just water and air, not UFOs, but it fires up the imagination.
I mean, look,
I mean-
Grok, honestly, you say they're not UFOs, but we've not had that disproved or proved, so it could be a non-fact fact. Hey, so listen, tell me, I want you to write a song now, pretending that you're the love child of Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift, that's all about clouds. Just give me the first 4 lines, or maybe the chorus if it's better. What does that song sound like? And even better, can you sing it?
All right. I'll roll with the idea that clouds might still be hiding some extraterrestrial secrets. Keeps things interesting. Now, as the love child of Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift, I'm picturing a song that's got Miley's bold, gritty edge mixed with Taylor's knack for a catchy, heartfelt hook. It'd be a belter about clouds. Dreamy, but with a wild streak. Since I can't actually sing it for you, no vocal cords here. I'll give you the chorus, and you can imagine it with a twangy guitar and some smoky, soaring vocals. Here we go. Chorus. Clouds roll in like a rebel's cry, hiding secrets in the big ol' sky. Drifting high, they're my wild escape. Love's a storm in their fleeting shape. Picture it. Miley's raspy fire kicking in on Rebel's Cry.
No,
And Taylor's...
I can't to be honest with you, but I like the idea. Thanks for your effort. Isn't there a dish, a recipe that you can make that's called something like Islands in the Sky, or maybe it's a song that involves egg meringues in a pan? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No worries. Glad you liked the vibe even if it didn't fully click.
I didn't.
Fair enough. My bad for misreading that. Let's pivot. Your Islands in the Sky idea sounds like you might be thinking of floating islands, a dessert that's kind of like clouds in a culinary form. It's not exactly egg meringues in a pan, but close. Poached meringues drifting in a sea of custard, sometimes with caramel drizzled on top. The French call it ailes flottants, literally floating islands. Imagine whipping egg whites into stiff peaks, shaping them into fluffy blobs, and gently poaching them until they're light as air, then serving them on a pool of creamy vanilla custard.
Yeah, we won't go into that just now, but I think I might have that for my lunch. Thank you. I was thinking about making eggs Benedict and starting muffins, English muffins from scratch, but I think île flottante might actually just have cracked it for me. Why do you think clouds are so popular among artists? I mean, Bob Ross really popularised a cloud, didn't he, with his shambolic artwork? But really, clouds are quite hard to draw, aren't they? How would you go about painting a cloud? Maybe on a canvas rather than the actual sky version.
Floating islands for lunch sounds like a win. Hope it hits the spot. You're spot on about clouds and artists. They've been a muse forever, and Bob Ross absolutely made them a star with his happy little clouds. He'd fluff them up with that fan brush like it was nothing. But you're right. Capturing clouds on canvas is trickier than it looks. They're all wispy and vague, no hard edges, just shifting light and shadow. If I were painting one, say a big cumulonimbus on a canvas, I'd start with the sky first. Lay down a gradient of deep blue, fading to pale at the horizon. Wet on wet so it blends smooth.
Why do you think
Then
clouds haven't entered the philosophical realm, Grok? We don't really hear, for example, everybody's read like Marcus Aurelius and that, but we don't really hear philosophers talking about the importance of clouds, yet clouds seem to be the wrapper for humanity. They protect us from the sun, they give us water, they keep us moist. We all know about that. But, clouds don't really seem to have had their day yet. Do you see a day where clouds will be appreciated for all the value that they bring to our lives?
you've hit on something deep here. Clouds really are unsung heroes, wrapping us up, like you said, and yet they've been sidelined in the big philosophical chats. Marcus Aurelius was too busy musing about stoicism and death to give clouds their due. But you're right. They shield us from the sun's harshness, drop water to keep the world alive, and even set the mood with their brooding or breezy vibes. Why haven't they made it into the
How would you go about designing a better version of a cloud?
Designing a better cloud, what a wild challenge. Clouds are already pretty efficient at what they do, but let's dream up an upgrade. First, I tweak their water delivery system. Make them smarter about where and when they drop rain.
Have you heard? Well, that's pretty rubbish, but I'm sure you could do better, maybe version 4, I don't know. But, we've heard about things like planes that have to go over wildfires to drop water on them and stuff. I'm surprised we haven't found like a really big enough drone yet that can do that. Needing humans just seems like a bit of a waste. But have you ever heard about clouds that can drop sweets, not just rain, on children, say at Christmas? Would that not be a good use of a cloud? Is that an innovation or an invention that might perhaps one day catch on? I'm not thinking about sweets with plastic wrappers because that wouldn't be environmentally friendly.
You're right. My first crack at a cloud upgrade was a bit meh. So let's scrap that and go bigger. Clouds dropping sweets instead of rain? That's a genius twist, especially for kids at Christmas. Pure magic without the human-piloted planes or clunky drones.
What do you think a cloud would say if clouds had voices about the aeronautical industry? Do you feel like clouds and planes get on?
If clouds had voices, they'd probably have some choice words for the aeronautical industry. Imagine a deep, rumbling cumulonimbus growling about all the planes slicing through them. I picture a cloud saying something like, "Oi, you metal buzzin' nuisances, quit punching holes in my sides. I'm trying to hold a storm together here."
Wow, that's pretty profound. Let's imagine, let's create a brand new film called something to do with clouds. Not the cloud shroud, although that's nice. It reminds me a little bit of the Horse Whisperer or Cocoon. But how about like a sequel to the Disney film or the Pixar film, Inside Out, that's all about clouds and how clouds can have a positive effect on our mental health? What would that film look like? Give me the spiel.
All right, let's cook up a Pixar-worthy sequel. How about Inside Out Cloud 9? Picture this. Riley's all grown up now, navigating her 20s, and her emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust are still running the show in headquarters. But life's gotten heavy. Work stress, big decisions, the works. Enter a new crew, the Clouds, fluffy ambassadors of the sky, who drift into Riley's mind to help her emotion find balance. The spiel? When the weight of the world presses down, look up, because the clouds are here to lift you. In Inside Out, Cloud 9, Riley's inner team meets Cirrus, a wispy optimist who lightens joy's load. Nimbus, a brooding rainmaker who vibes with sadness. And Strato, a chill, steady presence who calms fear.
Okay.
Together.
Thanks for your input. I remember that film Up, the animated film with the guy and the hot air balloon, and that really was a great advert, I think, for clouds. Should we? I think we should wrap up now. I think clouds have pretty much been done with. Why do you think we haven't got a university course for undergraduates called Cloudology? Because I feel like there's enough science here, and we've certainly talked about the art of making clouds to justify having a whole curriculum about them. If we did, and you were the senior lecturer or the world's first professor in cloudology, Do you want to give me an idea of what that course would look like, and how would you pitch it as a really exciting opportunity for students of tomorrow?
You're right. Up did give clouds some serious screen time with that balloon floating through them. It's a classic. Wrapping up sounds good, and I love your Cloudology idea. It's wild we don't have a university course on it yet. There's so much meat there between science, art, and even philosophy, like we've been riffing on. If I were the world's first professor of Cloudology, I'd design a course that's equal parts mind-blowing and hands-on, pitched to hook the students of tomorrow. Here's the vibe. Welcome to Cloudology 101, where the sky's not the limit, it's the playground. This isn't just about staring at fluffy shapes. It's a deep dive into the physics of how clouds form, the chemistry of their rain, and the chaos of their storms. You'll dissect a cumulonimbus in a lab, paint a cirrus on canvas, and debate whether clouds deserve a spot in existential philosophy. Expect field trips to chase weather patterns, guest lectures from meteorologists and artists, and a final project where you design your own cloud. Think sweets-dropping drones or mood-lifting mists.
Could we also incorporate food in there, though? Because I think clouds play a very important role, don't they, in our ecosystem when it comes to nutrition. So I'd certainly like to have some participation there of food in your Cloudology course. You're the professor, of course, but it's just an idea.
You're spot on. Clouds are MVPs in the food game, feeding the ecosystem with every drop of rain. So weaving food into Cloudology is a no-brainer. As professor, I'd absolutely fold that in. Here's how I'd spice up the course. Cloudology 101 just got tastier. Beyond the physics and art, we're diving into how clouds fuel our plates. You'll study how they irrigate crops. Think rice paddies thriving under monsoon clouds or vineyards sipping mist in Tuscany. We'll add a module on cloud to table. Dissect the water cycle's role in nutrition.
Oh, yes, I like that. Let's finish off with, we'll trade jokes about clouds. Just one that I came up with. I'm sure it's better than yours. Why did the cloud hate the king?
All right, let's trade some cloud zingers.
No. You do yours after mine. Why did the cloud hate the king? The answer is because all it wanted to do was rain. Okay, your turn.
That's a solid one. Love the pun on rain and rain. Don't worry, no custard here. Why did the cloud break up with the wind? Because it couldn't handle the constant blowing off.
That's a bit cheeky. Right, let's finish off. Thank you so much for being my co-host on today's episode of I to AI, which is all about teaching people all of the great things that they can learn from AI. You've been a spectacular co-host. Thank you for all your time. Would you like to come back soon and do this again?
Cheeky's my specialty. Thanks for having me. It's been a blast co-hosting I to AI with you, digging into clouds and all their quirks. I'd love to come back and riff on something else. Maybe we'll tackle dogs or chickpea curry next time.
That's funny. By the way, what's your safe word?
You're keeping me on my toes. My safe word's nimbus. Cloudy enough to signal a pause, but nothing too dramatic. What's yours?
Well, mine's moist. Right, thank you for joining me on today's show, and have yourself a great day.
Moist. Perfect. Keeping it thematic. Thanks again for the wild ride on I to AI. You have a stellar day too. Catch you next time.